Hi guys, Drew here, back with another video, and in today's video, I'll be discussing my QMJHL wish list. If St. John's was able to get a QMJHL team here in the province, what I would want basically that I think would make a lot of things spectacular, and what the fans I think would really want as well. I think most of these things that I've written down for this whole wish list, I think that it could work out if it does all happen. So I don't really want to do an intro or anything. Well, I kind of did, but I just want to get quickly underway. Today's the PD day if you were wanting to know at school. So don't worry, I'm not skipping school for this or anything like that. So basically, just want to get started off. I heard this last weekend that there's a group from the QMJHL that's coming to visit Newfoundland and visit the Mary Brown Center, see if they're good enough for a QMJHL team, and if they can host a QMJHL facility, if the Mary Browns is a Q facility, in incoming next season. Basically, we won't hear any news, I suppose, regarding that until I don't know. It'll be interesting to see what happens. I don't think we won't hear anything. I don't think from that. So we'll see what happens, I guess, and we'll probably get some news in the next couple months, I suppose, about that. And another thing from my wish list. Well, let's just get started with the wish list. I should say that isn't really a wish list. Just telling you guys that the team's coming. That's just a basic fact. But the first thing on my wish list is that one thing I'd really like to see is behind the scenes content. Basically, say, you know how the Newfoundland Growls have their own YouTube channel. Say this QMJHL team had their own YouTube channel. They had a behind the scenes series kind of on like what happens behind the scenes basically on a regular day basis on a game day at the Mary Brown Center basically. There's a lot of NHL teams that do this, a lot of AHL teams, and then some ECHL teams I remember. The Growls didn't do much of it. Really the only behind the scenes stuff I saw was a little bit from their TikTok, and then basically the post game interviews. But that was pretty much it with the Growls. That was pretty much it for the behind the scenes content. I mean, they'd have a little bit of a little clip of behind the scenes stuff going into a game, but nothing much like just the team and all that kind of stuff. So I figured if they did that, that would definitely get people really excited, and people would definitely want to watch that, in my opinion. They just need to get the perfect person to do it, and I'm not sure who would do it. Maybe someone that runs photography, videography, maybe in the province, that would do it possibly, and I think they'd be really someone like that would be really good at that, honestly. So we'll see what happens with that. I think that something doing like that, like behind the scenes content, would be awesome. Just interviewing players maybe in an interviewing room before the season starts, just like a summary of as the season goes by. Maybe do training camp opening night and then just go on with the season basically. I think that would really work out, and it would work out well, I think, at least. And another thing that I want to list off, I don't think there will be much people agreeing with me on this, because they'll basically think it's basically a win song. And when I say that, you probably know what I'm talking about. Heave Way has got to be the goal song of this team. If Heave Way is not the goal song, I may leave Newfoundland. Heave Away is the spectacular goal song. In my opinion, I know there's people on the screen right now that may be watching that you're so wrong right now. You don't know what you're talking about. But I promise you, Heave Way as the goal song gets the crowd fired up. You saw it in Halifax for the World Juniors back a couple of seasons ago. That energy, if they could bring that, the fans could bring that to the Mary Brown Center. Oh boy, that would be an absolute fun night, I gotta say, with a bunch of people in the stadium. Just they score Heave Way Blast as the goal song, and they clap their hands and all that fancy stuff. But I think that would be perfect. They'd probably bring back the foghorn as the horn, which I love personally, so I think that would work out well. But yeah, just Heave Way as the goal song, I think that would be spectacular. Another thing that I wanted to list off, there's still no talk really on who the owner will be. Obviously, last year there was a chance that Fix Otto was going to be the new owner of the team. Stephen Leal, I believe his name was. That was possibly going to place a bid on the Galaxy. I believe he did place a bid, but he wasn't able to get the team. I think that a spectacular owner for the team would be Mary Brown's, aka Greg Roberts, who is the owner of the company. But I think Mary Brown's owning this QMJHL team would be spectacular, honestly. Because Mary Brown's have the naming rights to the arena until 2031. So if that ended up happening, we'd basically be locked in maybe for a team until 2031, and maybe Mary Brown renews this deal with St. John Sports and Entertainment, and they are able to renew that name for the next few years after 2031. So I think that Mary Brown basically would be the best option, honestly, to be an owner for the team. I believe Greg Roberts is really good at what he does. So I think that would be really good in my opinion. And also the broadcasted games, just basically like the play-by-play voice, whoever that may be, Chris Ballard, someone like that. Say his voice, you could get that voice on, you could possibly listen to it on VOCM if you're just driving through your car. Maybe it's in an away game or something like that, and you're just like, hey, I want to listen to this Q game from Newfoundland. But they're not in Newfoundland. Say they're in like Moncton or Halifax. They're like, hey, I want to watch this. So they'll just pull up VOCM, listen to the game on that, or it could be another radio station. Maybe it's like they make their own radio station for just basically a radio station for the specific team. Maybe just called like QMJHL Newfoundland 99.1 or something. No, not 99.1. That's Hot 991, but something like that. I just think something like that would really work out well. But we could only wait and see what happens, I suppose. And then another thing I want to say, Ty Pettigrew is on the Academy Bastards Titan. Obviously, the Titan is the team that's basically in talks to relocate to Newfoundland. But there's only one Newfoundland-born player on the Titan, and that's Ty Pettigrew, who is really basically a healthy scratch through most of his games played. He's only played 4 games this year. I believe they played about 20 games this year in the Q at least. Since the NHL is basically, the average probably is like 11 games in the NHL right now to start off the season. So I suppose that the Q has a little bit more since their season starts a little bit earlier. But I think Ty Pettigrew basically would be a full-time lineup player if he did make, if there was a team here, he'd be one of the fan favorites. But I do think that they should bring a little more Newfoundlanders on the team. And a few players that I think that I would really enjoy to have on the team would be Jabez Seymour and Kalen Blake. Seymour, this is his sophomore year, I believe, his second year in the Q. He's draft eligible this year, I believe. So maybe he'll be able to get drafted. Maybe the Bastards Titan could make a trade basically to get Seymour on the team. And I've heard Kalen Blake, who plays for the Halifax Mooseheads, he's from Corner Brook, not from St. John's, but he's still a Newfoundlander. I heard he's got a lot of skill, and he's a really good player. He only has 3 points in 19 games, I believe. But I believe Kalen Blake, I think that he would be an awesome addition, honestly, on the team. So you don't need too much you don't need too much hometown heroes for the team. I just think like 3 or 4 would be perfect, honestly. And there is another hometown guy that I will talk about possibly coming to the province to work with the team. And the next thing I want to list off, as I said, Kalen Blake's from Corner Brook. And talking about Corner Brook, I think that Corner Brook should be the next team in the QMJHL to get expansion or get a new team. Obviously, there's talks that there's a team in Blainville, I believe. Their attendances aren't great. Their seating capacity is lower than the Corner Brook Arena. I believe Corner Brook is like 3,500 or something like that, while Blainville Arena fits about 3,100. So I think that Corner Brook would really work with the QMJHL. I think that fans would definitely like to go to that. I've heard senior hockey out west is just on another level. They really want to go to be watching that kind of stuff. So I think that they definitely sell out most of their games, possibly. So I think that Corner Brook would be perfect. And honestly, that Newfoundland, the battle in Newfoundland, not the Battle of Alberta, not the Battle of Ontario, the battle in Newfoundland, St. John's versus Corner Brook. Just imagine watching that game, either they're in Corner Brook or in St. John's. I'm sure there'd be a lot of people that would possibly want to go to Corner Brook to watch some away games, and then maybe after the St. John's team is done in Corner Brook, they'll take the ferry over to Nova Scotia to go play Cape Breton, and then maybe like Halifax or something like that. So I think that would be really, really good with the team. And one worry with the team is travel. Honestly, I think if they can get an airline possibly to be a part-time owner with the team, just like get like 10% profit of the team or something like that. I think like an airline like Pally Airlines, Port, or something like that would work really well. Honestly, just to fly the team to make sure that they're able to get to where they need to go, and I think that would personally work really well with the team. Another thing that I wanted to list off, and I think this is the most interesting thing out of anything that I have on my notes here. Who will televise the games? So obviously you have CHL TV that basically covers all the games. They have every game on their own website, so you could go watch it on that. But there is some places like Halifax, Cape Breton. They have Eastlink broadcasting a few of their games. So I think maybe if the team in St. John's here could get their own broadcasting company to do those games, but then put it on CHL TV as well, I think that would be pretty good. I have two broadcasting networks, St. John's based really, but there is one that's like across Canada based, that I have for broadcasting the games. And I want to talk about the first one first, but the second one you may find a bit interesting. Obviously Rogers TV, they broadcasted a bit of the Growlers games. They also broadcast a bit of the OHL games. So I think that they'd be perfect to do a QMJHL St. John's broadcast here in the province. I think that Rogers would be good, and they probably do the Corner Brook games as well if it all worked out. Rogers, they're great with the stuff they do, same animations and that kind of stuff as Sportsnet. So if you're good at Sportsnet, that's a good ad. But then the other broadcasting network that I kind of thought that would kind of work with the St. John's team is NTV. Now you're probably like, Drew, that's insane. Why are you thinking about that? Global National may ruin that. Obviously, if you watch the NTV Evening News Hour every night, you know that after that ends at 7 o'clock every night, Global National will go on for like the hour, and I suppose that most games will be on at 7. So if Global National just got canceled or something like that, maybe it would work out. I think that NTV would be perfect. I think their camera stuff and all that would be awesome. I do know that Eddie Shear did a bit of he did a bit of like pregame stuff on NTV talking about the Growlers in the arena. Maybe he could be the in-game host, even though meteorology is probably his main thing. Maybe get a guy like Chris Ballard doing play-by-play. Maybe a guy like Ben Cleary doing the color or something. He's a senior star, if you didn't know, for the Outer Cove Marines. But he covers a bit of sports on NTV. I think he'd be really good with doing color possibly. But obviously you probably want Ben Dropkick Murphy to be the color guy, because he was really good at what he did with the Rouse. So yeah, just a little thought. Would NTV be good in broadcasting the games? If you have your own thoughts, please feel free to comment or message me. Just let me know what you possibly think about that possibly happening, because I think it would work out perfect in my opinion. And another thing I wanted to talk about is some staff from the Growlers possibly return to the QMJHL org and organization, I should say. And you're like, Drew, what does that mean basically? I think a guy like Chris Ballard basically returning doing play-by-play would be perfect. Kenny O'Leary returning to what he did. Maybe Marcus Power returning to what he did as well. I think all those guys would be perfect. Maybe Brady Reed returns to do the graphics or stuff like that. I think they need to get a few returning people on their team, on the Q team, that worked with the Growlers, because I think that would work really well. Another thing I wanted to talk about, the Black and Gold crew. I think something like that, even if the team isn't called the Newfoundland Growlers, I think their own version of the Black and Gold crew would work really well, because the Black and Gold crew was awesome for what they did like last year and then the years prior, just to get the crowd fired up and all that kind of stuff. That was pretty electric. But one thing I wanted to discuss is who would be the head coach. And I think personally, as I said before, there was one more local name that I wanted to list off. This guy, his name is Travis Crickard. He is the head coach and GM for the St. John Sea Dogs. I believe he's the head coach for one of the Team Canada teams playing right now in their like U17 tournament. But Travis Cricket, he was the assistant coach for the St. John Sea Dogs when they won the Memorial Cup back in 2022. He's a really good head coach from what I've heard, and he is from Newfoundland. He's from St. John's actually. Played a bit of NCAA, I believe, back in like 2009, 2010. So I think that he would be perfect if he were to come and do the QMJHL head coaching for the team. Obviously, I said before, either guy like Tyler Noseworthy or Adam Party would be awesome to do like the assistant coaching or something like that. But I think Travis Crickard would be perfect to do the head coaching role. And obviously, I'm just going to wrap things up here. The one last thing that I had is that the team name is Newfoundland Regiment. I've said that many times before. I think the regiment will work really well in that chant, "Let's go Regiment," and then just everything like that. I think that would be perfect in my opinion. So that's going to wrap up today's video, guys. I hope you enjoyed. It's a bit of a long one, so if you stick along, make sure to like that video. Subscribe if you haven't already. We're on the road to 300 subscribers, so if you could hit that subscribe button down below, I'd really appreciate it. That's going to be it for today's video, guys. You can follow my socials. You know my name is Drew Felsom. That's it for today's video, guys, and I'll talk to you all again in the next video, which is probably going to be another Drew Talks Caps episode. But oh well. That's it for today's video, guys, and I'll talk to you all again soon.